This podcast is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our ABCC's podcast. My name is Marcus, and once again, I'm joined by Ellen.
Hello everyone, welcome back.
Yeah, so today our topic will be about something that has taken the crypto markets by storm. It is BRC-20. Many of you should have heard of this by now. I think I can allow some kind of backdrop on BRC-20. Maybe I can let Ellen share on that.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Thanks, Marcus. So the BRC-20 token was a standard that was initialized on March 8, 2020. A Twitter user known as Domodata or Domodata. And the Bitcoin BRC-20 token standard has become the latest trend in the crypto ecosystem, especially after the Pepe coin rise. So since then, there has been close to 8,500 different tokens has been minted using the BRC-20 standards, with the majority of these being meme coins such as Pepe and Memetic coin. So the groundbreaking development started via the Ordinaries protocol, and its impact was felt in the value of Bitcoin, which experienced a surge in the first quarter of 2023. So with the advent of the new Bitcoin Ordinaries protocol, users could now create Bitcoin NFTs by inscribing data on a Satoshi for the very first time in the history of the Bitcoin currency. This breakthrough creation through non-fungible tokens to the Bitcoin ecosystem created a new layer of complexity for the network. The market cap of BRC-20 tokens has now exploded over the past months, and now it currently sits near $1 billion US.
I think that data itself, the 1 billion, was probably a couple of days back. But recently, I think for BRC itself, the market cap, I think the last I checked yesterday was about 570 million. The drop was actually pretty astonishing because it dropped by about close to 60%, and then it came back up again. We'll talk a little. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's actually falls with all the meme coin last week, right? When Pepe dropped to half in a day, 60%
exactly.
a day, right? Yeah.
I think all these are actually affected by the meme coins, like you mentioned. But maybe you can talk a bit. Let me touch a bit more on what are actually BRC tokens exactly. So I think we are all aware that ERC20 tokens are created on the Ethereum network, right? So BRC-20 is actually an experimental token standard that takes the inspiration from ERC-20 tokens of the Ethereum ecosystem. The BRC token standard, however, fundamentally differs from its Ethereum-based counterpart as they don't make use of smart contracts at all. The token standard also requires a Bitcoin wallet to mint and trade these tokens. So with BRC-20, developers can actually easily build and transact fungible tokens using the Ordinals platform, like Ellen mentioned earlier. These tokens are actually stored on the Bitcoin base chain and built with the help of Ordinals and inscriptions. To deploy token contracts, mint tokens, and transfer them, programmers actually use the ordinal inscriptions of JSON data. So the ease of use and the flexibility offered by this BRC-20 standard is actually what has attracted the majority of many developers and investors alike. The fact that it is based on Bitcoin, one of the most established and secure blockchains, only seem to have added to its appeal. So when we touch on this part of BRC-20, a lot of the public from what have they thought about it? From what I've gathered from the data that I have researched, while BRC-20 tokens are still considered experimental, the general public actually thinks that is an extremely exciting opportunity for the use of tokens on the Bitcoin blockchain. They believe that BRC-20 tokens provide a solution to a significant limitation in Bitcoin's functionality, which is the absence of smart contract capabilities. And that actually gave rise to something like Ethereum in the past as well, because of Bitcoin's limitations. And by providing a standardized token protocol, BRC-20 tokens actually enable the creation of fungible tokens that can be traded and transferred like any other asset on the Bitcoin blockchain. However, of course, this is still experimental. There are still a lot of risks and a lot of challenges associated with the use of this BRC-20 token. So when we talk about that, of course, there will be both schools of thoughts. I think if I play like the devil's advocate kind of school of thought, some Bitcoin maxis have criticized the growing popularity of BRC-20 tokens due to the effect on Bitcoin network, because there has been a growing congestion on the Bitcoin network, especially when the mainstream media caught wind of BRC-20 tokens, and then everybody started to FOMO in. It actually broke like the record for the average number of transactions processed per block, which was more than 4,000 transactions, marking like an all-time high, which has never been seen before. But of course, if you look on the good side, this new token standard actually expands the possibilities of the Bitcoin blockchain. It provides new use cases as well for Bitcoin, other than just a store of value. So I think there are definitely a lot of exciting things that can be done with Bitcoin and this BRC-20 standard.
But speaking of that, I think there's still a lot of limitation of the network. I think like despite showing case of the potential of the Ordinals protocol, the new token standard have a lot of limitation that could impede the growth and the advancement. So one of the biggest drawback is the lack of use case right now. It could hinder development as the BRC-20 network doesn't support any type of smart contracts, and the asset price depends mainly on market speculation. Another development limitation is the absence of EVM compatibility, which actually restricting a lot of developers accessing to network resources and building on the network. So this could limit a lot of the adoption and result in a narrow ecosystem. Furthermore, BRC-20 tokens consume significant block space, which could lead to network congestion and higher transaction fees. So despite all this limitation, the Bitcoin proof of work consensus mechanism makes it difficult for hackers to breach the network, so making the blockchain security more robust. So some thoughts of the BRC-20 tokens in the long run. So as BRC-20 standard has already granted a passionate community with builders such as Unisat eagerly embracing the experimental token standard. Its creator, however, has repeatedly given warnings that the BRC-20 standard has its flaws and the token may not have any value falling on deaf ears to the community, and it seems that undeterred and are pushing forward with new projects and use case for these tokens. So with that said, though, we do need to take a step back and look at it more objectively. So it is very important to understand that BRC-20 is still a very experimental phase and massive hiccups are supposed to be factored in. While it might be exciting and all of these new developments, it is premature to consider BRC-20 as a token standard for Bitcoin-based tokens. You can get caught up in the hype from seeing BRC-20 on your timelines, and thus exercising caution is recommended.
So what are your thoughts, Alan? Do you think that this BRC-20 token is groundbreaking?
So I like the Bitcoin network, or the Ethereum network, in a way, but I still don't think BRC-20 will be something in the long term, to be honest, because I think there's a lot of limitation in terms of the use case, as we were just discussed. There's no smart contract. You can't really do any like DeFi on with the tokens, with the BRC-20 tokens. So in a way, I think most of it will end up being speculation. I think in terms of NFT, I think it could be useful because I think there's less demand for like NFT-Fi in the NFT space anyway. So yeah, in my opinion, I think the BRC-20 token is a phrase, but I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be anything game changing.
Do you foresee like an entire ecosystem even being built on the Bitcoin network, just like the other layer ones that we see? Do you foresee that happening for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin network?
Okay, so I have two opinions on that. If we adapt the Lightning Network more, I think it's possible. But from what I see, like over the past few these years, I still don't think we're ready for Lightning Network yet.
I agree. In fact, I think that this is just a something that will come and go pretty quickly, and I don't really see much kind of holding factors for this particular BRC-20 token standard, or in fact the entire Bitcoin network. I don't really see people using it, having widespread adoption of it. Therefore.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
Yep. And with that, I think we have concluded this podcast session. I hope to see you all again next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The information contained in or provided from or through this podcast is not intended to be and does not constitute as financial advice, investment advice, trading advice, or any other form of advices. The information in this podcast is general in nature and is not specific to you, the users, or anyone else. You should not make any decision, be it financial, investment, trading, or otherwise, based on any of the information presented in this podcast without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or financial advisory. You understand that you are using any and all information shared in this podcast at your own risk. You are solely liable for any losses that you may incur from investing, and in no event shall we be liable for any losses which may be incurred while investing. Trading of cryptocurrencies is highly risky and may not be suitable for the general public. All opinions expressed by the program participants are solely their own current opinions and do not reflect the opinions of ABCC. Participants' opinions are based upon information they consider reliable. ABCC does not warrant the completeness or accuracy of such information and should not be relied upon as such.